Good morning, church body. Hope everyone is doing well today. Ryan here, and I've got the opportunity and the blessing of doing today's morning devotion with you. If you've been keeping up with us, you know that we are in 1 Corinthians chapter 10. And recently, the last couple sections that we've been talking about, we've learned about Paul telling the Corinthians about self-denial, the importance of serving all men, and to seek after that crown of life. And today, we're going to be focusing on just a couple of verses 14 through 17. And it's important that we know who Paul was writing to and what was going on at this point in time. So Paul was encouraging these believers that they needed to live a life differently. He was telling them that they needed to deny themselves, that they needed to make sure that they were serving all men, and that they were striving for that crown of life, that that they were racing after the things of God. And then the beginning portion of chapter 10, he gave some Old Testament examples of what was going on. In verses 12 and 13, right before what we're going to read today, he says, "Therefore, let him who thinks he stands take heed lest he falls. No temptation has overtaken you, except such as is common to man. But God is faithful, who will not allow you to be tempted beyond what you are able, but what with the temptation will also make a way of escape, that you may be able to bear it." So, what he was saying there is, God's always going to make a way. It doesn't mean it's going to be easy, but there's going to be a way, there's going to be an escape. So, right after that, he goes into this section, which in my Bible is titled, "Flee from Idolatry." It says, "Therefore, my beloved, flee from idolatry. I speak as to wise men. Judge for yourselves what I say. The cup of blessing which we bless, is it not the communion of the blood of Christ? The bread which we break, is it not the communion of the body of Christ? For we, though many, are one bread and one body, for we all partake of that one bread." So, Paul, he wrote to this body of believers. He was encouraging them, just like all these different sections, telling them to live this life differently. And then here he was telling them to flee from idols. What was going on here? See, the church in Corinth was just encompassed with all these secular pagan rituals, these pagan religions. And many of these Corinthian believers came from that background. That old life was still evident in their new walk, but he was telling them that they needed to flee from that. They needed to have nothing to do with that. And they're not a part of that anymore. They're a part of the one communion, the one body of Christ, that we are all partakers of what Christ did. So that was what he was saying then. But I truly believe it's something that could be asked of us today. You look all around the world and there's a lot of little g gods. You could probably take a look in your own life and there might be some little g gods. So let's take some time today and reflect. What little g gods are idols in your life? What things are keeping you from truly being thirsty for the things of God? What things do you need to forsake and put away so you can be a part of that one body of Christ? See, it's verses like this that we need to sit down and reflect upon them and realize that we all have those little idols or big idols in our lives. It could be things that we truly love and could be good if they are done in moderation or if they are done in alignment of God. So that could be your family. That could be a hobby. That could be a job. That could be a car. That could be a boyfriend or a girlfriend, a husband, a wife. See, none of those things are necessarily bad, but they can easily become idols. And we've got to flee from those idols and make sure that we are focusing on God first. So I hope this was a blessing and a challenge for you today. I love you, and we'll talk to you soon.